Right.
Can you tell us please a little bit about your experience in Gabon?
Sure. Does anybody know where Gabon is? Right, when I got my invitation to go to Gabon, the first thing I did was scramble to the map and right, try to quit so I wouldn't embarrass myself later. This map has our current fellows group kind of mapped out on it, so you can see we're kind of coming from experiences around the world. But right here in the center, on the equator, on the east side of or west side of Africa, Gabon is the equator runs right through it, and it's on the land program. So all of us were involved in service projects that were part of kind of larger visions of what change was needed, and we probably had complicated kind of thinking about what we thought of those projects. In my case, we were building elementary schools in rural areas. So I was posted as the only American volunteer in a small village community, and together we built a school and several teachers' houses. The big kind of picture development idea was to try to curb the movement to the capital city, curb urbanization, and try to provide quality schools in the interior that might encourage families to stay at least a longer period in the villages, because one of the issues that the nation was grappling with was in the one large city there wasn't adequate jobs or infrastructure, and a lot of cultural linguistic loss happening when people from 60 different ethnicities converge in one city, and languages within a generation, languages start disappearing and cultural traditions start disappearing. So that was basically the project, was to build a school, and we did.
This is what I wore teaching pretty much every day. There are, like Joby was saying, also in Mauritania there are several different ethnic groups, so what you wear kind of depends on which group you identify with. So I was in the south of Mauritania, and this was pretty common clothing there.
Okay, nice. So can you tell me please about your teaching experience there? I know you were a teacher.
Yes, I was a teacher. I taught basically the equivalent of middle school age students. They were beginning English. They come to school in Mauritania speaking usually one of 4 languages at home. They speak Pular, Soninke, Wolof, and Hassaniya, which is a dialect of Arabic. When they get to school, the school system is bilingual, French and Arabic. So they already have to learn 2 languages that are not native languages. And then when they get to middle school, they start to learn English, because the general thought is that if you learn English, you have more opportunities. So I had 51 to 56 kids in each of my classes. They were very enthusiastic, more so than you'd find middle schoolers here, but mostly illiterate, mostly kind of unprepared. They get passed through school pretty easily, and so they're not really getting a quality education. I had kind of what you'd think of if you close your eyes and imagine what you think a teacher is teaching in what classroom in Peace Corps. That's what I had. The blackboard is crumbling, there's no kind of windows, there's kind of a door maybe that's hanging off, a few desks, but 3 or 4 kids at each desk, the ceiling's falling in, kind of clay classroom, but it was really nice to see that even in all of this kind of hardship in education, the students were really excited to be there and so excited to meet someone from the United States who they'd never. A lot of overlap. When I started intercultural communication here, to be honest, I wasn't quite sure what that meant, which is kind of why I chose it. But basically our department focuses on how we communicate with people from different backgrounds and different cultures. So part of it is from different language backgrounds, but also just within the United States, people who speak English having those communication problems based on their culture that they come from. So in the Peace Corps, that is something you do every day. Little things you do when you're communicating, you think you've learned the language, and then all of a sudden you say something or make a gesture and you realize you just offended a huge amount of people and you had no idea why. So one thing that I definitely learned in the Peace Corps is how to kind of not take myself so seriously, how to be able to laugh at your mistakes, and definitely learn about the things that we take for granted and how you communicate and how you greet someone. In the United States, if I met Joby in the hallway, I would just walk up and put my hand out and shake my hand, with his. But in Mauritania, between genders, you'd almost never shake a hand. And there's a long greeting. You ask, how is work? How's your family? How's the weather? How's the heat? How's your tiredness? It's a very long greeting process. So I think coming from that background, it definitely helped a lot to be in intercultural communication now with that experience.